You are about to see mutilated corpses, burning tank carcasses, and all out mayhem, brought to you by Frontline Fatalities.
Sup, COH fans, and welcome to episode 72 of Frontline Fatalities, brought to you by the Frontline Network, presented by me, FatalSaint, and Tommy. What's up, Tommy?
What's up, FatalSaint? I am very happy to be finally casting a game that's actually recent, because we've been going through quite a bit of a backlog recently, but there was a tournament last weekend, the Most Wanted Invitational Tournament, which saw a slew of good players go and fight it out, and in particular some really fun early round games, such as this little gem between Guderian and KoreanArmy.
Yeah, KoreanArmy and Guderian went at each other's throats on Samoa, so we're gonna take a look on that match. There was actually only one game played in this series due to some various circumstances and whatever.
It was getting too late for KoreanArmy, I think. I think it was getting sort of into the... it was out of the evening and into the morning for him.
Ah, God, yeah. So we're gonna have a look on this game between KoreanArmy and Guderian. KoreanArmy playing as the Americans and Guderian taking on the Wehrmacht side of things. You ready to go, Tommy?
I'm ready.
At the 5-second mark, and pause in 3, 2, 1, unpause. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And with more recent news, we've actually got a little bit of news. Officially, it's been on various forums like Code2.org's forums and the official Company of Heroes forums, is that Relic now has... Well, I guess Relic has their own CM now, just as Lynx is the CM for Sega. Who has Relic acquired, or reacquired, really?
Indeed, they have reacquired Mr. Relic Noun, who a lot of you will remember was the partner with Thunder, and everyone used to, and you would never say one without the other. It was Noun and Thunder. They were the two Relic community managers before Lynx was the community manager. But it's a bit of a new way of doing it because the Lynx is going to be the Sega representative community manager, whereas Noun's going to be the Relic end of things. So, and from what he said so far, we don't know a whole lot, but from what he said so far, it looks like they're going to be working together as sort of dual community managers, both invested in Company of Heroes 2, and they're going to be working together on that. So I think, the more the merrier.
Oh yeah, indeed. I think it's gonna turn out to be a pretty good team. Just like Thunder and Noun was a really good team, I bet Lynx and Noun could become a really good team as well. And it's pretty good to have... I think Noun's gonna be more like tight-knit with Relic part of things, like with the dev teams and whatever. And Sega will be more of or Lynx will be the Sega representative, obviously. So more of the maybe the PR department and marketing and whatever. So I think it's gonna be a good team.
Yeah, exactly.
What do we have for Guderian? He went Volk first, just nothing building in his quarters. Oh, there is something.
Oh yeah, he went for a Volk first, and he's following that up with a second Volk, and he's going for a pretty normal cap order. Although there is one point that you see differs from player to player. He's actually chosen to send one Pioneer all the way up to this top munitions point. Now, some players prefer to just grab the fuel next to their base. Wehrmacht players, this is, wire it off and then move into the center. But actually, I've always preferred doing what Guderian has done here and actually capping that top munitions point, because even though you're virtually guaranteed to lose it within the first couple of minutes against a good harassment player, it means that you actually hold the fuel for longer itself. So you're sort of sacrificing a bit of munitions, but it does mean that you actually hold on to that fuel so you can tech faster and get faster veterancy, which to me is very, very important.
We actually have 3 smaller engagements going on at the same time. We have engineers and pios going at each other on the left-hand side VP, and on the right-hand side munitions capping, we had some engineers from KoreanArmy also engaging the pios from Guderian that just backpedaled away. And we did actually have the Volks split up for Guderian, so he went one to the left-hand side to deal with this rifleman squad now decapping the munitions, and he actually sent, as we saw before, his first Volt squad over to the right-hand side. So he's doing that. He's doing the kind of the Alyash capital sin of splitting up your 2 initial Volks.
It's a real sort of high risk, high reward thing, you know. Again, it's honestly it tends to fall a little bit too much on the risky side for my personal taste, because you really do run the risk of losing big and bad in the early game, because one good rush with an sort of a Volk on his own against a rifle and engineer combo, and you're going to be sent packing.
Yeah, we did have a rifleman caught out of position here on a negative cover road by the MG, position at a very much cut off from Guderian. We do have grenades ticking, so I think that's the only reason that KoreanArmy is really sticking around with this rifleman squad here. He's getting yellow/green cover, and he's trying to fight off the MG, and he's actually doing some decent manpower or some decent health damage to the MG crew. But I think it's a little bit too much for one lone rifleman squad to handle. We do have a second one coming in as well, but he's gonna have to take a long way around to flank that MG. It's gonna take a while, and I bet Guderian's gonna have enough time to reposition his MG if he needs to be. There's a grenade though. That's what KoreanArmy was waiting for. 3 rifle nades with the 4th rifle queued up in the barracks right now.
Wow, the Volks actually suppressed that rifle. The first burst of the MG plus a burst from the Volks was enough to suppress the rifle there.
But he loses the MG crew. There's still both of the rifleman squad are lingering around, and they want to recrew and steal an MG from Guderian, but Guderian's Volks are not going to let him have it completely for free, so he's trying to stall out as long as possible, but he needs some backup now.
He has an MG on the way. He just needs to hold that position for the next sort of few seconds, because obviously the Wehrmacht quarters is very close to the action, but he's actually getting whittled away now by these rifles. I mean, those rifles could just walk right up into point-blank range and force a retreat.
Yeah, he's going to go for the steal now. Yeah, he's just going to grab it. There's only 1 Volk member remaining on that squad, and he's forced to retreat. And we do have the second Volk squad actually coming up from behind, but it's probably
it's a nice grenade.
Ooh, very nice.
Lots of health damage done there.
He's actually retreating down negative cover road, and he's getting focused fired by some riflemen. Very low men rifle squads. Actually don't...
wow.
He gets him! He gets him on retreat, just as I thought that it was actually going to be safe, but no.
That must have been a carbine, because I'm sure the MG had stopped firing by then.
Yeah, the MG was packing up. That was just like one shot from a carbine, just magically hit that Volk in the back of the head while he was retreating right next to his second MG. So, early casualty for Guderian, losing an MG that also got stolen, and then losing an entire Volk squad. I don't know.
Yeah, a whole Volk squad, and then, you know, the stealing of an MG is just so huge so early on. It's just enormously painful and a huge blow to morale above anything else, because it forces you to get a sniper, which ultimately pushes your tech in a certain direction. It means you can't really afford to well, it puts you in a horrible position of being behind in tech, but also not really being able to get too many grenadiers, because you just end up getting suppressed. So not a great position to be in.
No, you don't want to lose your early MGs like that. So I think KoreanArmy is way ahead right now. So Guderian needs to pull some magic out of the bag and do some nice moves, and maybe, you know, reacquire the MG. That would be optimal, but it can be kind of tricky. I don't know, just...
Stealing back an MG that you've had stolen is actually... It's a lot easier stealing an MG from the US player than it is from the Bear player. But, yeah, it's by no means simple. Actually, a Pioneer went down.
Yeah, Pio goes down as well. Pio down, Volk down, MG down, and stolen. I don't know if this game is gonna go on for longer than like 10 minutes right now, because right now it just looks like Guderian is sitting in a massive hole.
We just got rifles coming out of everywhere. I mean, Guderian's army now, if he loses another Pioneer... Whoa, wow, he just gets out of there with his life. I mean, he's back after losing all those units and rebuilding a few of them. He's back to a sort of a more standard Volk MG sniper build, and is just about to finish his tier 2 tech. So tier 2 still going to be coming up in relatively decent time, but I mean, Guderian, he's really just been hurting for manpower, and also lots of veterancy and kills as well going to these rifles. We've got 6 kills on one of them already, 3 kills on another, 0 kills on that one. But you know, getting those early kills is really going to facilitate a good sort of mid-game shift for KoreanArmy as well.
Yeah, very aggressive use of his sniper, but he does have mine backup, so to speak. So if he gets pursued by rifles, he has mine covering his back. So it's no problem for Guderian being a little bit more aggressive with the sniper on the left-hand side. He took a pot shot on one of the rifles, decapping the fuel, but I didn't want to actually hang around and take more casualties to the sniper. So he just decapped the fuel and just left it like that for now. And he's actually repositioning the MG out of the house to outside of the house instead of inside the house, so the sniper can't pop away at him when he's garrisoning the building and he might lose the gun completely. But the sniper's actually opted to go over to the Wehrmacht cutoff now. But right now, I guess territory-wise, Guderian is doing okay. He's still in possession of his fuel, so I guess he can keep ticking. But that's basically all there is to it, because the 60 munitions on the right-hand side has been cut off, or, well, since he lose that MG at his cutoff, basically. So he's not... I don't know, how is his income? It can't be extremely great.
His fuel income is low, his munitions income is low, plus 21. He's got 73 in the bank, but you know, it's just fortunate that due to the triage as well being invested into by KoreanArmy, he's not going to be facing a super fast M8 follow-up.
KoreanArmy is extremely aggressive and actually gets the D crew on like a drive-by Garian to the head on the MG crew. And at the same time we have Volks actually flanking the stolen MG. It is flipped, so he's going to start laying in the hurt on these 2 Volk squads, trying to de-garrison the Rifleman squad from the building. We do have stickies actually being teched right now, and that must be in response to seeing that half-track.
I don't know if he's even seen it. He might have just heard it through the fog of war.
Might have. He was over there with the Rifleman squad, so maybe he was listening in the fog of war.
He may well have seen it. Wow, these Volks are actually pretty tough when it comes to facing down his MD-42. They're actually going to beat out this rifle squad in the building.
Boo! He was actually kind of close on losing an entire Rifleman squad. That would put Guderian back into the game even more. But this half-track now, until he gets sticky to death, because I'm not exactly sure if he actually finished the stickies, or if he just cancelled it due to building a motor pool instead. I think he cancelled the stickies.
Interesting. Well, motor pool, not a bad idea. You know, it's going to be a brutal follow-up. When, you know, considering, you know, Guderian, he's then got to get a Gren afterwards, because there's no way he can afford to get a pack. It would just leave him way too vulnerable to the rifles and potential further rifle upgrades in the future. The pack is going to be a long way away, I'd say, and even when it does arrive, there's not going to be too much supporting AT. I think this half-track is a good idea. I know I do the same thing as well. When I find myself in a really, really dodgy position after a bad early game, getting that half-track is a good way to get yourself back into the game, and at least force stickies, or at least force your opponent to back off a little bit.
Yeah, the half-track does get a little bit unlucky and hits some mine that was planted by the engineers. They went after the sniper, actually capping the Wehrmacht cutoff. Guderian doing some ballsy things, capping with the sniper.
That is a sign of desperation right there.
We did have stickies actually
in the middle.
we have stickies re-teched in the barracks after putting up the motor pool. So he cancelled it so he could afford putting up the motor pool instantly to get it built and done. And then when he acquired another 20 fuel or so, he started taking the stickies anyways. So he's gonna have the stickies now, and an AT gun is brewing in the motor pool. So that's more than plenty against this poor half-track, which is gonna be...
AT gun.
Yeah.
Interesting choice. To fight the half-track, I mean, it seems almost a bit overkill. But I guess he just really doesn't like half-tracks.
Yeah, as you said, Guderian has been in a bit of a manpower hole. He's taken quite a lot of Volt casualties. He lost an MG. Actually, he lost and got one MG stolen from him, and he also had to recrew another MG. That's another 3 Volts that you have to reinforce. It's a lot of manpower that's gone wasted, or not wasted. He's been forced to reinforce all of his stuff to stay in the game, obviously.
Oh boy, and this half-track is
already
die now, immobilized.
Nice flamer pop on the engineers in the middle of the engagement, forces both of the Volk squads away. The sniper is still laying in the hurt, however. He's up to 12 kills right now, so that's the real manpower damage dealer for Guderian's army right now. That's one sniper there, so he does not want to lose that on a negative cover road.
If he can pin both of those rifle squads, no.
Oh, he died to small arms fighters?
Yeah, he died to small arms fighters. I was going to say if he could pin them, then he won't be able to use stickies, but actually...
That didn't help.
Come down to that. There's an MG here getting flanked as well by a couple of rifles. Although he might be able to prevent having to retreat it, as he is retreating back into these bolts in the growing cover.
And he took a lot of health damage, and there was actually at the same time an engineer that just ran past a grenadier squad for Guderian on the left-hand side, and KoreanArmy was not paying attention as he was microing that rifleman squad trying to get behind the MG and kill it. But he might actually lose this engineer on retreat, and he does lose an engineer on retreat, so small victory for Guderian right there, and I think he needs every small victory he can get to claw his way back into this game.
So we do have an M8 now following up. It's a fairly late M8 coming out just past the 13-minute mark, and already there's an AT gun on the field. And Guderian actually playing pretty ballsy here, going with the Sturm Armory as a pretty quick follow-up. Only really the one unit out of Tier 2, actually. He got himself the one Gren squad, now straight to Tier 3. So maybe it's a bit of mind games by Guderian, make his opponent over-invest into snipers or bars, and then hit him with a Puma.
Yeah, might be a good idea, but now that he sees this M8, he needs to get himself at least a Shrek on the Grenadier at minimum. A pack would be wise, maybe, or get a Stug. Does he have enough fuel for a Stug?
He's
building a pack. Okay,
yep.
Yeah. Good response
so
from
the Sturm Armory is not going to pump out anything immediately because he's just lacking the manpower for it.
He's taking quite a lot of manpower damage, losing Volks all over the place, and the rifles have already started vetting up. Very little so far, but you know, there's one vet stripe on one of the rifles with a bunch of kills, and some of the other rifles have 6 kills, and yeah, they're gonna start vetting up soon.
This MG location is working out pretty well for Guderian. Right in here at the cutoff, it's very difficult to flank, I think, for KoreanArmy because it's so sort of back to the wall here, and there's no real sort of 180-degree flanking route. But actually, I think he's going to decrew it here just through nothing but overwhelming firepower.
I thought he can't actually deal the damage to the MG. The med kit is actually out healing the damage, but the grenade is going to change that fact instantly, decrewing it. And here comes the M8 now, and where's the pack? The pack is out? Oh yeah.
The pack is out, yep, and it's coming down the road.
Yeah, he needs that pack desperately, really quickly before this M8 starts laying in the hurt on the Volks and forces everything else to retreat as well. Because that's gonna mean a second MG stolen in that case.
Oh, this is gonna be a bounce plus pack combo.
Nice.
Gonna killed, and it's still not moving.
Oh, only main gun destroyed. That M8 could have died due to that pack shot.
Oh, yeah.
I think he was behind a little shed.
With his life, really. Very fortunate.
Yeah, could have gone either way. If it rolled a kill crit, that M8 would have been toast.
But we do now have a Puma on the way, but there's already an AT gun and an M8 out, so I don't know how well it's going to fare. Obviously, an AT gun can't be in 2 places at one time, but I just have this horrible feeling that it's going to go the same way as the hard track.
Yeah, and Guderian knows there are stickies on the rifle, so he needs to micro his Puma very cautiously and needs to stay away from the rifle so he doesn't get sticky and then follow up. You know, both the M8 and the AT gun can do quite good damage to Pumas, and the M8 can pursue it, especially if it gets sticky and gets a damage critical. You know, then the M8 can follow up easily and just hunt down the Puma and kill it. So he needs to be very careful and very passive with his Puma and maybe use it more defensively. You know, stationary Pumas against rifles do fairly good damage. Sometimes you can get very lucky rolls with every barrage of shots on Rifleman squad and basically just grind them down into pink dust in 2 seconds. But he needs to be cautious with it. He can't get it sticky, because if it gets sticky, the M8's just gonna roll up on him and just demolish him.
So the Puma's coming out to this left-hand side here. Bit vulnerable out here. I mean, he does have that one mine protecting him should the M8 try and rush him and chase him, so I guess he's just relying on that to give him free roam over this side.
He wants to get the MG out of the building. It's what's really stopping him to do any form of infantry advances on the left-hand side. So targeting the MG with the Puma is a good idea. And where is this M8? The M8 is still being repaired. It's only back to approximately 50% health. So it's not going to be able to go out there without risk of being killed by a sneaky pack somewhere. So he can't really risk that. He needs to fully repair that M8 before... Was that a prop war that didn't work?
There was prop war used. I'm actually just admiring a medic who's doing a bit of a dance.
Oh, really? We did
One
have...
of KoreanArmy's medics is actually preventing the AT gun from moving. This looks like quite a bad little bug, actually, he's got going on here.
Oh, wow, yeah, he's doing
something. Oh,
something.
he finally unbugged it. It was doing that for quite a long time.
Bartek for KoreanArmy, further enhancing the strength of his rifleman squads. He's got everything now: grenades, bars, and stickies on all of his rifleman squad.
Fully pimped out rifles, always
Yeah,
nice to see. But
completely pimped
I don't
out.
know, against bars really being that great of a choice. I mean, not that he's facing all that much infantry. Certainly now, you know, with the tier 3 hitting, second Puma's on the field with a Nebel queued as well. So,
Ooh, Nebel's good against the motor pool tech, I think, especially since he saw an AT gun.
oh, this could be a nice grenade here on the Grens, but actually Guderian, he waited to the last possible second so that Korean Army wasted that munitions on a useless grenade.
The Puma's just guarding the Vol squad, capping the munitions on the top left-hand side of the map while he's just capping away, and the rifles can't really do much about it. Korean Army actually moved his AT gun over to that left-hand side now to protect against the Puma, while the M8 is wreaking havoc in the center. Where is that pack? There it is.
There it is, making himself known. A nice bit of micro, though. Very quick, actually, from Korean Army to reverse through that little gap. I've seen all too many M8s die in that gap when they get stuck on a building.
All the time.
You've got to be very, very careful. But actually, there's Puma up here in the north in a bit of problems. He's dodging AT shots, getting chased by a rifle as well.
Yeah, Korean Army wants to stick at his Puma so he can get after it with his AT gun, and he does have the MG covering the AT gun from infantry, but right now the rifle support is gone and an off map is used somewhere. I'm guessing on the MG in the center.
On the MG in the center, I believe, and there it is. Boom, sets off a mine as well. The pack is forced to move back. The M8 stays alive now with 6 kills. The Puma up in the north is still content to keep dodging those shells from the AT gun. Has lost just a little bit of health from the bars.
Here we go. Nebel now firing on the AT gun and MG on the left-hand side. Nice target, but Korean Army actually foresaw this and vacates the house instantly and runs away with his MG. The AT gun, I'm not exactly sure what it's doing. Where is this AT gun doing?
The M8 just M8 mined the pack here. Oh my god! And he destroys the pack crew. Does an awful lot of damage to the Gren squad there. That was like a Harry Kiri M8. It ran through, it saw the pack, it got shreked, it knew it was done for, but it took a bunch of guys with him.
Well, at least, if you're gonna die, at least take as many of the enemy with you into your grave.
Yeah,
I guess that works.
I think Korean Army is determined to try and steal this pack though, which could be dangerous. Puma's gonna have to, he's gonna have to take a sticky to the face here if he blocks this rifle squad.
The sticky is thrown, but actually dodged because he's not throwing it with the rifleman squad closest to the Puma. He's throwing it with the other rifleman squad. He does get the sticky off, does cause a damage into this Puma, and now the AT gun has actually relocated from the left-hand side of the map into the center.
But still,
the getting lucky.
Refuses to hit anything.
Why is he not hitting these Pumas with the 57s? What's wrong with it? Generally, 57s, kinda, you know, they have that dodgy dodge bonus against
reliably normally,
yeah.
But this time they're just not doing it. This
sure.
AT gun now, he's a bit outgunned. I can see there's 2 Volks. They're just raring to go running up. There's another M8 now rolling out with skirts upgrading, I'm sure. Currently unskirted though, just those naked wheels.
It could be risky if the pack gets recruited or he gets fasted before the skirts are upgraded.
Yeah, it's always a risk sending it out that early.
Still upgrading skirts? How long does it take to upgrade the skirts on the M8? Feels like it's been sitting in the center for eternity right now, and it's just not upgrading. Ooh, nice Nebel barrage and nice Puma flank on the AT gun. Ouch.
Whoa.
Look at that damage.
Puma
One
plus
Nebel rocket.
just about enough to actually keep the M8 at bay.
Oh no, the pack is recrewed. Cloaked.
Oh,
he just needs to
no.
get one shot off. Why is he not firing? There he goes!
Oh.
M8 goes down.
Oh god.
Skirts were never upgraded, and the stolen MG is actually getting decrewed by the Puma now. All of a sudden, feels a little bit like Guderian has turned the tables on Korean Army, but he is still giving away lots of infantry kills for Korean Army's rifles, getting quite a lot of infantry bets on his rifleman squad.
There's some really nasty kills coming in here and a lot of manpower damage done to Korean Army's forces. I don't know if he's got any supplier upgrades yet. I'm going to take a look. He does have one of them, but I don't know when he loses a whole rifle squad.
Yeah, it was unvetted though, so if he had to lose one rifleman squad, I think Korean Army is kind of content that they lost that one. Doesn't want to lose the Vet 2 one. But right now, apart from this AT gun that they can recrew, he has no AT against these Pumas. He's got nothing so far. So the quick tech to tier 3 seems to have worked out in Guderian's favor, actually. It was risky for a little bit when he was under strength compared to Korean Army's upgraded rifles with grenades and stickies and whatnot, and losing the half-track quite rapidly after getting it out of tier 2. It didn't stay alive for that long, only a few minutes.
Yeah, it was a really rough early game, but as you say, he is beginning to come back into this. He has Vet 2 for infantry on the way now, which seems like a bit of a weird upgrade, given he's only got that one Grand Squad with the Shrek, and the Bulks don't really get any bonus. But other than that, he's doing the whole sort of Vet 1 on everything strategy.
Vet 1 on the 2 Pumas. If you get, you know, almost always Vet 1 for Pumas is good. It's just that one more hit you can take without dying. It's always good to get a little bit more survivability for 20 fuel. But you know, if you have 2, you should really consider getting Vet 1. If you got the 1, maybe you can do without it if you're not gonna focus on using your Pumas very aggressively and things like that.
Unless your name is Siberian and your micro is so good that you just don't need Vet.
That's true. Not many
he
players.
He never got Vet. Like,
I know.
Everything from him was just unvetted. I think the only time he got Vet was when he was bored in the late game. He won already. So
yeah, pop-capped maybe.
I get some Vet.
Maybe if he was pop-capped, he'd get some veterancy because he had nothing else to spend his resources on and was just started to float like 500-600 manpower. Okay, I'll get some veterancy, I guess. I guess Siberian just needed. Siberian just wanted more units instead of veterancy.
Oh my god, a 57 actually hit a Puma. That has got to be the first time all game.
I actually think that's the first time all game that it actually hit a Puma. And we do have another Puma on the left-hand side. Going in for the flank on the AT gun again. Very nicely played from Guderian. He's going to catch this AT gun moving, actually. And there's only one rifleman squad back here able to protect it. And all they can do is throw one sticky. But the second AT gun is repositioned. Here comes the second Puma. I think this is excellent light vehicle micro from Guderian. He's basically everywhere with his 2 Pumas, and the AT guns can't really get a clear shot.
One of the Pumas snags a damaged engine. Actually, both of them get a damaged engine.
Was that small arms fire from the bars?
It was indeed small arms fire. Oh no, the Pumas are hitting each other, one behind the other.
Oh, you usually see that with the PE armored cars, that they just like rip each other apart by accident.
Oh boy, this can be really bad now. One of them is very low health. The other one immobilized. Although that AT gun, the nearest AT gun, actually gets decrewed by the Neville. So it's going to be down to the rifle stickies to actually finish these Pumas off here. But not if they're forced to retreat.
That was a brutal engagement for both players. So many riflemen down. He didn't lose an entire squad. The Vet 2 actually got out of there with only 1 man remaining. And both of the Pumas extremely damaged. Only one of them actually getting the nasty immobilization crit. But both of them could have potentially died there. He does have one AT gun sneaking up. The sniper is trying to lay in the hurt. There we go. He's trying to decrew the AT gun. AT gun sees the Puma, or the rifles, and the flamer sees the Puma.
Oh, he focuses down the flamers though. He's getting the kills where he can.
No!
And, oh my god, he might survive. If those pioneers just quickly shift over.
Oh, he lost
another rifle.
Another rifle, and drop a bar as well.
MG at that point there in the middle. Now Vet 2 support as well. This is really turning into a bloodbath, and actually, through all this fighting and dying, it should come as no surprise that Guderian's actually closing in on that King Tiger pretty rapidly. He's on 4.5 CPs, just over, in fact.
Already? That was kind of like when we casted Symbiosis versus Key of Wall. He also got an extremely quick King Tiger.
Yeah, it's when there's a lot of death, you know. I mean, you've got to be wary for that King Tiger. If you're losing a lot of stuff as Americans against Terror player, you've always got to keep an eye out. More AT guns getting decrewed as well.
Grenade tennis! Oh, the Grens took the brunt of the action from those grenades. 2 grenades. He might actually lose the entire Grenadier squad. He does lose it, and dropping a Panzer Shrek at the VP on the left-hand side. So we have a Vet 1 rifle with a Shrek now.
Rifle with Shrek is spelling not good things for Guderian.
It's very bad for these Pumas.
Yeah, very bad for your health generally. Oh, and one of them actually goes down to the 57. There's another sticky on one of them from the back. 2 super long-range rifles through the hedge.
He actually had 3 Pumas until that one died. Here's the Nebel Barrage now, targeting the AT gun from Korean Army. Always a good choice with indirect fire like Nebels and mortars, targeting the stationary support weapons like MGs and AT guns. It doesn't get decrewed. He just couldn't get out of the flame. It was basically a nice little circle around the AT gun. He couldn't go anywhere without taking damage over time. I think Korean Army could potentially unlock off-map combat group now. He's got 4.5 CPs with Rangers already unlocked, and he is floating almost 600 manpower.
Unfortunately for him, there's 500 manpower being floated by Guderian, and 5 CPs are in the bag. So he needs to roll. Oh no, he didn't drop the Shrek.
Yeah, he left the Shrek for the Wehrmacht army to reclaim, but he does have another rifleman squad coming out combined with the MG that he stole.
Vanilla rifle picks it up again. But yeah, I mean, we could be seeing a KT any second now, really, which even if there's an OMCG coming out, it can probably solo just about everything that comes out of it.
He actually did not go for the OMCG. He decided to get an AT gun and reinforce all of his rifles.
Okay. Well, we all know how expensive that can be sometimes. Sometimes you can end up with a whole, sort of blob of rifles in your base, and you think, wow, where did all my manpower go? Just reinforcing these guys.
Yeah, he's got at least one zombie rifle squad, and he's only 1 casualty away from getting another one from the medic tent. But I'm not exactly sure what Korean Army needs is more unvetted barred rifles right now. They're fighting veteran infantry, support weapons, and vehicles now.
King Tiger has been unlocked, but he's not calling it out yet, even though he could.
He doesn't really need it right now, does he?
Well, when do you ever need a King Tiger? But he does actually pull it on now.
Against off-map combat group spam, maybe, or TD, I guess.
Well, a KT is always nice to have. I don't think anyone has ever needed it, though, in the heat of the moment. But it's just there to be another annoying thing for your opponent to try and counter. Often unsuccessfully.
Yeah, the biggest problem of Korean Army is the lack of AT now. He's got this single AT gun, and that's basically it. And the sniper is still alive. There's Nebel fire raining down all over the place. And now with a KT on the field as well, it's gonna be quite easy for Guderian Army just to brute force his way to the American cutoff, take it, and sit there for the remainder of the game.
Yeah, I mean, this rifle's just getting chewed up here. And if Korean Army is going to keep on mass retreating and mass reinforcing, it's going to spell disaster. Oh, one of the MGs getting very low.
It was a nice grenade. He almost kills it, but it just won't die. It's so low health. And there we go, finally.
Nice prop war there. Very nice.
He forces all of the backup away from the graveyard, which means that the AT gun is completely alone. There's only 1 rifleman squad on the field. Everything else from Korean Army is basically sitting in his base right now, and he's just waiting for off-map combat group. But I'm not exactly sure that 1 off-map combat group can stop the combined arms from Guderian right now. What a nice comeback from Guderian. It looked very, very dicey in the early game, and right now he's looking very, very solid all of a sudden.
It's looking very good, and I imagine Korean Army is probably kicking himself right now after giving away such a great early game.
We did have off-map combat group, a Hellcat, an M8, a mortar, and 1 rifleman squad. It does not need more rifles, but I guess you're bound to get rifles from off-map combat groups basically all the time.
Well, the medic tent bites the dust, so no more dancing medics. I'm sure that 57 is going to get focus fire down any second now, as soon as Guderian notices it. Nebel fire coming down on the bridge there as well. Very nasty.
Is that double Nebels? It's got to be double.
That is double Nebels, yes.
Interesting.
Short range Faust goes in on the M8.
Here comes the Hellcat now. He's going into the center of Semois, but there's a KT and a pack there. Way too much for one lonely M18.
Just too much for him, really.
I don't think Korean Army has enough AT to tango with all of the vehicles and tanks from Guderian, period. It's basically just not enough stuff.
Long range sticky goes in on the KT, but I think it's a bit futile, really.
It's barely
It
damaged.
just doesn't have enough AT guns to really do the damage to it.
Well, the main problem is going to be, I think, those two Nebels now. Even if he still keeps recrewing the AT guns, he needs them to be stationary unless he wants to get circumstrafed by Pumas. And when he stays stationary, Nebels. Ah, here he goes. Here comes the Nebel, and the gun health is kind of
nice
low on
fight.
AT gun already.
Yeah. M8 comes in and blows up promptly.
Ah, that was so awesome. Came down the middle road and then explodes instantly.
This is another Harry Carry M8. He's going to take some guys with him, and he takes the pack crew with him there.
What just killed the M8?
The Puma.
Ah, the Puma. Sense. 26 infantry kills on one of the Pumas. Ouch. I think that was that's where the game changed for Guderian. Those Pumas.
Yeah, those Pumas had a huge impact in the game. Here comes the Hellcat now. He's just one shot away from going down, though. As soon as his KT opens up,
Ooh, that
it's
was
going to be
close.
lights out.
Oh, you're telling
bit
your
of
way to run
micro,
away!
though. Oh boy.
Ah, he's getting stuck a little bit on the craters in the graveyard, and that spells disaster for that M18 Hellcats crew. They die in a blaze of glory. AT gun is recruited, but the gun health on that AT gun is very, very low. The Puma actually tried to destroy it before. It was just not enough to kill it, but the Nebels are firing again, and KoreanArmy actually throws in the towel and leaves the game right there. I think that was not a bad choice. It was kind of sensible choice. With that AT gun decrewed again with the Nebels, he had 0 AT, like literally no AT whatsoever, not even an M8.
Yeah, it was just such a tough early game for him there. It was,
That was a
It
good
was
comeback
just-
from Guderian. I like that.
Yeah,
the
a great
Pumas
comeback
really,
indeed.
really did their job. The quick
And
tier
these aren't
3
even
tech.
Vet 3 Pumas. These are just Vet 1.
Vet 1, yeah, just normal Pumas
Just
with a little bit
regular
more
Pumas.
survivability. That's nothing special.
There you go,
really.
folks. You don't need Vet 3 Pumas to get 26 infantry kills.
Just need
You just
stationary
need
Pumas.
some stationary Pumas and an opponent who's willing to run into them quite a lot.
Yeah, that always works. Awesome game, very well played from Guderian. Nice comeback in the mid game there. You know, after the horrendous early game, losing that MG to the early grenades. Korean's army go-to tactic: 3 rifle nades. Always, always, always. And as we saw in that early game, it can really, really pay off. Thanks, guys, for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like this video. Tell all your friends, and you'll see me and Tommy for the next episode. See you guys.
See you guys.